go. All right, we're live, so I'm going in. How do I get in here? Hold on. No, wait. We're having some technical difficulties today. One moment, guys. Let's see. Am I on the stage? There we go. Okay. What's going on? Let me see if I can get Frank up here. There we go. What's going on, brother? I don't think he can hear me. Yeah, so Frank just got a new device, so we're trying to get them all situated. So thank you guys so much for your patience. It's been a crazy morning, awesome morning. Welcome everybody to LinkedIn live stream. As you guys know, we're doing this also live on YouTube. So shout out to everyone who's on YouTube, everyone who's taking some time out of their Wednesday to come and chat with myself and Frank. If you guys don't know, recently Frank came on he's come onto the team in a more full capacity as our technical product manager. But he's done much more than that. He's been really looking out for the team and has been just an absolutely wonderful person to everyone on the team. The insight he's provided and some of the stuff that he's working on himself is just super, super exciting. So I know we're kind of waiting for everyone to filter in. Looks like we got around 20 people in here. Feel free, by the way, throughout this entire, LinkedIn live to drop some comments and, ask any questions that you have. We're going to be doing these every single week. But yeah, Frank, it's awesome to have you here. Thanks so much for joining in. For anyone who doesn't kind of know who you are, do you mind, dropping like a quick intro?
Yeah, for sure. So again, my name is Frank Ramos, longtime app developer, now working with the entire team at OSSA.AI, mostly on the technology side, but functioning as a technical product manager, bringing brand new stuff to the users. We're just very excited about the future of what this app is going to do and what we're going to do inside of the entire industry. So very excited.
Yeah, I see you got the nice background too. You're looking like a creator over there. But yeah,
I gotta level up.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have quite a few things to cover today. In terms of kind of the agenda of what, we decided we want to cover. First of all, a lot of you guys know that we have a couple open roles. So I'll be kind of announcing, one of them, our new social media marketing manager, super excited, an absolutely brilliant individual that came on board. Her name's Adriana. So I'll be talking about her over the next couple of days and letting you guys know. She's awesome. She came on the team, in a fuller capacity. Super excited. We also brought on Arif, who is our lead video editor. So a lot of you guys have probably noticed that, I've been a little bit more quiet, especially in like the school community and on LinkedIn and stuff. And that's because we've been bringing on quite a little bit of talent. But the one thing I can assure you guys is, over the next couple months here, I'm really focused on creating more resources, more content for you guys to help you, create content with OSSA or really in any capacity. So that's one of our biggest focuses over the next couple months on the marketing side, is just to put out more really good stuff for you guys to have, to achieve whatever goals that you have across, social media. So that's like one thing. And then another thing, I kind of wanted to talk about, which Frank could probably give an update, is we're in the process bringing on another full stack engineer. As you guys know, we're a super small team. We're bootstrapped. We're moving right along. But as we're growing super quickly, we're looking to bring on, really talented individuals. And I'm sure there's a large chance that some of you guys in here, met with Frank and I, because we've met with so many awesome people. And we had crazy traction on some of the posts. I think we had a couple thousand applications. So we went through all of them. And maybe Frank, he'll give like a little update on kind of where we're at, some of the people we've talked to. And then towards kind of the tail end, I want to kind of get into some of the features we have and kind of maybe some general timelines of when those can be expected, because we've been getting a ton of feedback on what you guys want. There's a large chance that you might have gotten an email from me because I've been reaching out individually to a bunch of our users and just collecting a ton of feedback. So appreciate everybody being here. And yeah, Frank, would love for you to, kind of kick off by talking a little bit about, on the engineering side, maybe where things are at. And kind of, why we're looking for talent and kind of the state of that kind of role that's open still.
Yeah. So, again, I think we have very ambitious goals and where we want to get to and where we want to be in the marketplace. So that requires like great talent to work with, right? So again, we put out a couple of job postings. We got incredible replies from people. We went through dozens of interviews and met up with many developers of like different backgrounds, um, everything, different experience levels, and everything in between. So, again, what we're looking for is, someone who's full stack. We do have a technical portion of the interview that, it felt like, just we encourage everyone to be prepared for. And by preparation, I mean, we'll give you a general idea of what the interview is going to be about. We don't send interview questions beforehand, because that we want to kind of just go through an exercise. But also after that portion, we wanted to see more people like showcasing their projects, right? So we did see some projects from some folks, but if it's something on GitHub and it's not something that's like easy to click on and see and have it deployed on Vercel or any of these kind of platforms where we can look at it, you're not putting your best foot forward, we would say, right? It's definitely better to have preparation to make sure that all your projects are kind of just ready to go, and ready for us to check out, because for us, that's really kind of skewed one way or another, based on the roles progressing through, the candidates progressing through like the different roles. So like I said, it's like we're more project focused, right? We're not interested in asking like any kind of like weird gotcha questions from elite code and any of that kind of like tricky stuff. We don't care about that. For us, it's like having some practical knowledge. Specifically for that role, we were looking for more like React based kind of situations, like having just doing basic API calls, rendering something onto the screen. Like these are things that, if you're the kind of person that we're looking for, it should come pretty naturally. It should be at least have a conversation about like what you're doing on the screen. And we have like a live coding environment all set up for the person to be able to work on things. So those are just like some tips. Again, we're progressing through it. It's a lot of people. We're going to keep growing the team. So again, look out for any future postings. We might need some kind of like specialists and that sort of thing. So just lock in and just make sure that you're following us, because this is moving very fast, and it's a very exciting time for us. So oh, cool. I think you're muted.
Yeah, absolutely. And to kind of give, thanks so much, Frank, and to kind of give everybody some kind of context on where we're at and what some of our main focuses are. It's really growing the team and filling in some of the holes which come with any company in the beginning, right? And a lot of our time has been focused on finding super talented individuals and finding people to kind of help us fill some of those gaps. And it's been super awesome meeting a ton of people. And now that we're kind of settling in and we're able to find those individuals, we're going to be able to really ramp up and provide you guys with more features at ideally a faster cadence, which is kind of where I want to transition this into. And that extends outside of that, which is more content for you guys in terms of within the communities, growing the communities, right? That's one of my bigger focuses, is really focusing a lot more on having places for our community, for our users to connect and learn from each other. Super important. And then we've obviously had a ton of support from a lot of creators, a lot of them being my friends that have been so nice to kind of create some stuff about us and help their communities know about us. So yeah, we're I think we're sitting around 70 or 75,000 users. And I'm just super excited because I'm finally going to get to start creating some content again and focus on kind of building out that side and, focusing a lot more on the community. So that's going to be like super exciting, and kind of, transitioning into probably one of the reasons why a lot of people are here is, I want to kind of touch on kind of the studio and what that's going to kind of look like, because that's ideally going to be coming over the next little bit here. And I know there's been a lot of questions within the community about what it's going to look like and what some of the functionality is going to be. And, I'm not going to like show any type of stuff on my screen, but yeah, I mean, I wanted to kind of dive into that, Frank. And kind of how we got there, I think is super, super important. Why we've decided, that a studio might make sense for our users.
Yeah, so I think on the product side, we're listening to feedback from everybody, right? So that's like super important. If you're one of the people that signed up for OSA, just make sure to reach out to us. If you see something that's like funky or any kind of like issues or improvements of things that you might want to come up with, one of the things that we identified was definitely more fine tuning of what gets created, right? So studios is a concept of being able to, we want to always maintain the promise of like speed. Like you can get into the app, you can generate a video quickly, right? We always want to maintain that. However, if you are leaning towards more of a power user, or you see something it's not quite there that you want to kind of change up, like an image or like how the text looks or kind of what's said, that's what studio is all about, right? We want to give more flexibility to all the users to create anything you want, to unlock the exact flow that you want. And that's where the premise of studio is going. Again, we're working really hard on it. I don't think we have like a set timeline yet, but
Yeah.
we want to just make sure that we're serving the request, from everyone that's like, hey, I want to be able to fine tune it. So it's basically the fine tuning version, the ability to edit your video with the fine tuning in a more natural way, and that's what studio is all about.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And I think to give everyone some context as to why it's coming now versus like not in the beginning. Originally when we built out the product when we first started, it was how do we build something that creates like a really good video off the bat? Like we have, which I'll have James on, in a future live, maybe not next week, but the following one. But he's gotten to 14,000 followers on TikTok in I think 45 days, over 2.5 million views. He doesn't even add music or anything. He takes the video that's generated, puts it straight to the platform. So it's like originally that was always the goal, is how do we allow users to just create a video and not have to do anything, right? Because we wanted to really push the limits of what's possible without having to do anything. It's like the idea was, how do I like think a video into reality by just putting text and some parameters. Now we're kind of at a point where it's like we hear you guys where you're like, yeah, Frank hit on this. It's like I wish I could change that like one thing, or I wish I could just change that one like word. And it's like those little micro adjustments, right? It's like you'll have your base video that's generated, in the normal flow that you're all used to, which is going to the create page and creating your video and then hitting create, right? But the difference will be over time, right? Eventually, you'll be able to just pop that right into the studio, change whatever really you want. Like that's the vision, is like it's going to be a creative playground, right? For really whatever you want to do the video, and we're going to really stack things on top of that studio that just make it very customizable. But what it's not going to be is it's not going to be like a timeline. It's not going to be something that you've really seen before, because I think a big mistake, I know that a big mistake that a lot of companies have made is like people want simpler, they want what works, right? And what's actually the end goal? The end goal is to like adjust my video in the simplest way that makes it customizable to me, but that also has a higher potential to get engagement. It's like, does a timeline solve that? Not really. It just like overcomplicates things. And so I don't ever foresee us becoming like a full scale timeline video editor, like kind of what some of these other companies do, because I think it's just too complicated. And our premise is like we want to make it really easy for people to create engaging content that's customizable. So I think that when we drop this, a lot of people are gonna really like it, but it's also gonna be a little bit different than what people are used to, but like a really good different. Because what I don't want to do is throw this, like grab a wrapper of a of a timeline and just kind of throw it on there, and then it's like, wow, like now I'm just in an editor. And it's like, go use CapCut for that. Go use Adobe, right? Go use Filmora. But I think there's a specific use case that people want, because we've gotten feedback from, at this point, hundreds of customers. And the biggest one is like, I want to make some small changes. But nobody's asked, like, I wish I had a full scale video editor to complicate my workflow, because no one really wants that. So I think that's something that is like super important that we're cognizant of, is we want to introduce this, but we don't want to introduce extra, complexity. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, and it's you hit it on the head. We feel that recreating something that's already existing doesn't benefit anybody. We want to kind of go down the route of looking at what people actually want to do and make those small changes without having to redo everything from scratch. So if what we ended up doing was recreating again CapCut, that's already existing, right? You don't need that. We're looking to change the way that people like edit things and make it more on the fly, make it more seamless. And that's not through like your typical CapCut looking like timeline thing, right? So we 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 we're we're trying to do everything as new as possible, but being familiar enough so that people can actually get what they want done. So, again, that's part of like the the excitement of like working in this kind of like fast-paced environment. It's like we don't need to worry about what happened previously. We can just go forge ahead and do whatever we think serves like the actual users of the product, right? We don't need to be bound to to redo something that already exists.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like one thing I kind of want to ask you, Frank, is you've obviously seen a lot of these things happen. You've seen kind of inflection points and things like that. Obviously, we're as you know, we're growing pretty fast. Where do you kind of see like OSSA over the next like 3 months, 6 months from your point of view?
Yeah, I think within the next 3 months, it's like again, we're going to continue to serve the users, have people excited about it, possibly tell their friends, because it's like a really super easy way to create content. It's much easier than what people are used to. So I think what's going to end up happening is it's like an explosion of content that's going to be created. Again, as more tools become available, again, there's all these like these short animated videos coming out, all these sort of things. We're going to try to incorporate things that make sense as they come in. Again, right now, we wanted to really focus on the first thing, which is the promise of you have a short script and that turns into a very engaging video. Over time, it'll turn into possibly different forms of media, including some of these animations and some of these things that are being incorporated from other companies. So we're going to continue to evolve the product. Again, help people like sort out the stuff to just make it like super simple to use. That's like the simplicity is like one of the core values that we have. We don't want to make it so that's like really complicated or have everybody understand everything that's involved with AI, right? It's a fun way to create content, and we want to keep it that way.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think like one thing maybe to touch on, because I know it's an interesting story. And I know you say it a lot, but there's probably a lot of new people in here. I mean, maybe you can talk about kind of your first experience with the platform, that original video that you posted on TikTok. I think it's always pretty cool.
Yeah, so like the way we met was on the Discord. It's like the first time I went on Discord was because Midjourney required it, and I was like, "What is Discord even?" Right? It's like because of course I see all the people, all the streamers have their Discord, but it's like I don't really interact with like gaming streamers like on Discord like that, right? So I never really kind of got into it until Midjourney basically made it a requirement, and so I was looking through other communities that are on Discord. Again, found a couple of communities and found someone that was talking about their product. Happened to be Cole, and I looked at the product and I said, okay, what is this, right? Is it yet another tool? Like, what is exactly is going on? And so I went from I used another tool which we won't name. That what ended up happening is I was trying to grow like a TikTok account, and for trying to understand like the best way to grow, kind of like leverage my time a little bit more wisely instead of being on camera, to actually make things using AI assistants. And the first couple of videos that I uploaded, it actually like TikTok actually didn't allow the video because they said it was duplicative content. And so I was kind of like bummed out. I was like, well, I'm paying for this tool and it doesn't work, and it's like it sucks. Like I want to find something that's better, but I don't want to sit there becoming a world-class video editor just to get a little small, like short video up.
Mhm.
So I did try OSSA, and it was kind of crazy in the first, and it's the page is still up, and you can see all the views and all the comments. It was a very engaging piece of content, and it got like 24,000 views within 2 days. So for me, it's like I've never had that kind of like result, and so that's why the conversations led more towards like, so Cole, like, what do you need over at OSA? Like, do you want me to sweep the floors? Like, what do you actually need over there? Like, I can help. And so, I came forward and kind of like was as helpful as possible. And over time, we started having a deeper conversation. And, again, so then I accepted the role. So, again, driving product for a company that's growing this fast is, again, super challenging, but again, like we're seeing results. Like we're seeing people in the community that are really getting numbers. It's all organic, right? It's rare to have a product that works so well with the premise of it being AI generated, right? So I think it's like it's getting close to the point where anyone can make it. Again, there's a couple steps that we're trying to simplify,
Mhm.
streamline, but the idea is that we want to make it so that like I have a personal, like I've been in technology for a long time and I have a personal test. My personal test is, can my mom use this, right? If my mom can create something, a piece of content, it's a very wide net. So it means that like we're giving that ability to anyone that wants to use it. And so we're not quite there yet. We're working on
Yeah.
it. Studio is going to definitely help, but that's really what it feels like actually, you know, like working together, working on this like massive undertaking, and doing it with a team of people that's like very talented, right? Again, we're getting some really good, talented people that are interested in the company, and now it becomes a whole point of like, okay, how do we get all this stuff and manage it and make sure we're moving towards the right direction?
Mhm.
So it's a process, but again, the software engineering role is part of that process. Again, we have an editor that recently joined, a social media person that also joined. It's like this whole group of people. We're assembling the Avengers. Like everyone has like their superpower, and we need to make sure we're tapping into that to grow an amazing company.
Yeah, no, so well said, and I think that's like that has to be our main focus right now is, especially over the past few months and right now, it's like how do we get the right people involved that really believe that we could build something that's not really, one thing that I get asked a lot is like, what do you think about your competitors? And my approach has always been like you don't really get anything out of looking at your competitors because it's like that's time you could just be spending on your own thing. But it's like I genuinely believe that what we're working towards, we're going to get to a point where it's like what what Frank's working on and what we're kind of moving towards. Everyone who's because there are definitely, because people hit me up and they show me stuff like a bunch of my friends that are creators and like, did you know this company dropped this thing? It looks just like yours. And it's like, did you know they changed this thing? And it's like, you can only assume that maybe there's something there. And we have indications that, they're getting some inspiration and that's awesome. Right. But it's like what we're going to be dropping, people
Yeah,
will just look at us and be like, fuck, pretty
yeah,
much. That's it. Like, they're just gonna look and be like, "Okay, we can't copy that." And
yeah.
I think
And
that's
and
really gonna be the big point.
I think it's like the funny meme from like Mad Men. It's like, how dare you do all this stuff? And he's like, he's like, I don't even think about you at all. Like we want to be on that level. Like
Yeah,
it's like we want to realistically change this in a way that's like not only hard to duplicate, but also like it services the users because we're seeing it. We're seeing how people are using the thing. And again, there's a concept of different platforms. I'm trying to say this like the least revealing way possible. There are platforms are that are being used by our users that aren't friendly to what the future is, right? So we're really thinking very deeply about how do we create that future then. And so again, this all these things are in service of what the user wants, and to help them have a place to make sure that their all their content is shown in the best way possible, if that makes
yeah,
sense. And
that's
so
it.
we're
That's
just really excited about it. Um, there's going to be some haters, and I love that because if there's no haters, you don't have a good enough product. I'm a
it.
firm believer. Unless somebody
Yeah,
like doesn't like what you're doing, you're doing it wrong. Or
yeah,
it's just like man, like no one cares, right? So we're all about like we're rustling the jimmies here. We don't care. Uh, we're all about really trying to push this thing to see where it goes. It's a very unique opportunity to use artificial intelligence to again support creativity. And so we're gonna get there. It's gonna be awesome, and that's why this whole thing feels like a rocket ship. And that it's like I hope that enthusiasm is clear to everyone that's applying for this. It's like we're looking for really amazing people that really have the same vision. We 100% don't need someone that is looking for a paycheck. That's not what we're about. So if that's you, like, please don't apply. Right? We only encourage people that, because again, we've had a lot of people applying. We want to make sure that it's a really good fit, that people have kind of like, one of the questions we ask in the initial interview is like, what do you know about OSSA? Like, what have you seen? And if the answer is like, oh, I don't even know what that is, it's like, okay, we kind of see that you're not interested, riding that wave with us. So, just make sure that, if we get to the point where we're having a conversation, make sure you're putting your best foot forward. Make sure that you really are interested in like riding this wave, because it's coming. Like, this is a huge wave. AI is here to stay. Anyone says otherwise is foolish. I've seen these kind of inflection points happen in technology before. However, I don't think AI is going to be how everyone is predicting it, and I have a hot take on that. So I think right now everyone's seeing a huge bubble happening on the hardware side, the Nvidias and all that sort of thing. When was the last time you thought about the hardware that powers anything that you do technology wise? You don't care. It's the utility of it, right? The iPhone is the most amazing product in the world. I don't know how it actually works, right? It could have it could have like quantum physics technology in there. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
All I know is that it's amazing for me to watch my YouTube videos, right? Let's be honest. And so we think artificial intelligence is going to follow a similar trajectory. It's very tech heavy now. It's very hardware based now. The LLMs and all that stuff. But like in the future, no one's going to care about that. It's
Yeah.
the only thing is the end product and how useful it is for people. So
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to build. We're trying to stay one step ahead of what's going to eventually happen, because we know how this works.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. A lot of great stuff there. And I think, the biggest way to kind of summarize what Frank was talking about with some of, this stuff is like, we want to create a place where, we want to create a community at the end of the day. We want to just have a place for people to, share stuff. And I'm really big on community. So it's like, and it's really that simple. I think people just, they want to create content, they want to share it. And that's why we do these things in general. Like, we create videos for people to see them. Like, that's why we want to do it. We want to tell our story. And Frank's totally right. Nobody's going to care in 2 years if you can automate a video with AI. It's going to be like, okay, that's like the norm. Like, there's tons of companies that do that. But what people will care about is how customizable is that to me? How did it take me a lot of time, right? Are people seeing my thing, right? Do people even care about it? Is it so bad that like people don't watch it? Like, a tool is not useful if it's not engaging and it doesn't actually attract the people you want to attract. Like, it's essentially useless. And in my opinion, any company that has major investment in some sort of video generation tool that is not focused on actually creating a product that delivers the core use case, which is, can I get more people to look at my thing and hear my story? It's like, it's not very useful. It's cool. It's like a tool, but that's really what it is. And it's like, over the next 2 to 3 years, 5 years, it's like everyone's going to have access to all these resources, right? Computing will go down, and it's going to be democratized AI. So it's not about like who has the coolest automated thing. It's like, no, like Frank said, what's the end product? Like, what are we actually trying to solve here? And I think it's super exciting to like be part of a company that is kind of on the forefront of that. But it's like, we're not trying to be super special. We're just trying to create something that like actually has value in a place where like it's so easy to be like, let's just automate everything and like kind of throw a sticker on it and make it a wrapper. And then like, cool. It's like, it's AI. So like, it's cool. It's like, that's just so far off from what we're doing. We're thinking so much further out than that. And we know where the market's going to go. The bubble's going to kind of, collapse. And then people are going to be like, wow, like there's so many different tools that I can use to automate my content. But it's like, which one actually is like solving a problem? And we're going to be that, we'll be that company.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what makes this like really exciting, because we're like, Cole and I are very aligned on like what the future vision of what this should be. Because again, he's a content creator. Like, content creation is based on the content. Like, it's not necessarily about the platform. Like, platforms come and go, but it's like, is the content engaging? The people, are people interested in it? Like we're streaming on like LinkedIn. That's not a normal thing, right? Because most people don't see LinkedIn as a network that you do that. And it's like, we don't care. We want to do this because we're reaching the people that would be interested in joining us, right? That's why we're doing this with companies that want to partner with us, right? That's why we're here. So it's very important, like, that we don't actually care about norms or what's happening. It's like we see value in things that are not seen as something traditional. So that's what the core thing that we're doing. With just a bunch of rebels, like,
Yeah.
just taking on the world. So
That's it. I mean, I think I made a post about this, but if you read some book of business, pretty much every single page would tell you that we shouldn't be where we are. Like, I'm a content creator. Like, what am I doing in the tech space, right? Like, Frank's here. He's like a multi-year veteran who's worked on some of the biggest projects in the world. Like, Jaden, our lead developer, learned to code 2 years ago, right? It's like, we're bootstrapped. It's like, how are these guys even doing this? And I get asked that a lot. Like, how is this possible? What other companies are bootstrapping, AI video generation tech startup? Not many. And not many, doing it how our team's doing it, which I'm super, super grateful to say. So it's like, yeah, I mean, we just really believe in what we're doing, and it's not a matter of, will we get bigger, or how, it's a matter of how big are we going to get. And we believe, we're going to just continuously serve our users, and it's always going to be centered around what's the end product and is it actually valuable? Because if it's not, I wouldn't expect you to be part of what we're doing. It's like, if it's not valuable, if I'm a content creator and I wouldn't use it myself and I don't see value, it's like, why would I expect anyone else to touch the thing we're building? And I think that's an approach that a lot of companies could borrow from us, that would, to be honest, really help them out. Because it's like, if you're not looking at this at anything that's AI generated as like an actual creator, I mean, you can have 1,000 developers and you can automate a video, but it's like, is it good? And that's what our focus is. So yeah, I think we can kind of wrap up with that. Frank, if you have, anything else you want to share.
no, I just think, again, we're I did see that a person named Faith Works was asking a questions. Yeah, you can create any kind of stories that you want. They were asking, is there a way OSA can produce African videos? Uh, yeah, we have some examples of people that have specific verticals, and that's kind of the goal, right? You want it to be to the point where you can tell the story of something that you're interested in. And so, yeah, the answer is yes. You can create that type of content if that's something that's interesting to you.
Yep. Whatever you want. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the goal. Is, we don't templatize content because people don't want templates. They want, we're a bicycle for the mind. That's what we are. We just allow people, whatever you like have ever wanted to create it, it's possible through our platform. And if it's not now, it will be, I guarantee you, in the future. And that's where we're building towards. Is we'll be at a point where it's like, whatever you have ever wanted to create it, essentially, it's possible. But it's not just possible, it'll actually work for what you're trying to do, which I think is the thing we're really focused on. So yeah, Frank, thank you so much for hopping in. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We had a good amount of people in here today. So we're doing these every single week on Wednesday at 12 p.m. PST. The recording will be on LinkedIn as well as on YouTube, and I think Facebook as well. So that's super exciting, and X. So yeah, thank you guys so much. And by the way, I'm hopping on with my other co-founder Brennan, and we'll be on an X Spaces with a couple some really massive Web3 companies in about 22 minutes. So if you guys have some time, you want to come see what's up over there, then maybe I'll see you in there. Cool. Thanks, Frank.
All right, thanks.